Hi everyone, it's Tish with Naptime Creations. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. It's free and it'll help me out a lot, so hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to be making a silicone mold of this resin snowflake I had made on my channel previously, so let's jump in and get started. For the bottom of my mold, I took 6 pieces of packing tape and overlapped them over each other to make a barrier. You could also use this transfer tape. It comes in a roll. You can get it off Amazon. I'll link it down below. You just cut the size that you need, and then you can use that instead of the packing tape. I personally prefer the packing tape. It's just up to you, whichever one you want to use. I took my mold housing here, placed it down on my tape, took my little binder clips, clipped it together because my mold housing is 2 pieces. And now I'm going to go in with some 100% silicone caulk and just go around the perimeter of my mold housing. And that's going to make sure no silicone leaks out while the silicone is curing. You could also use hot glue for this. I prefer to use the 100% silicone caulk because I have had a lot of leaking problems where the silicone leaks out of the mold housing when I use hot glue. I found with this 100% silicone, it doesn't leak as much as it does if you use hot glue. Let that silicone dry overnight, and now we're going to mix up our silicone rubber. And to do that, I'm going to be using this electric handheld mixer from Let's Resin, and I'm going to be using the silicone rubber from Let's Resin. This one is actually their green silicone rubber, and I really liked working with it. One thing I love about Let's Resin is they give you really detailed instructions with any of their kits or any product that they sell, which is nice. So the silicone rubber comes in 2 parts, parts A and B, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio by weight. So you do need a digital scale for this, and I do shake up these bottles before I get ready to measure them out. I give them a good shake for about 30 seconds just to make sure everything that's inside the bottle is nice and incorporated before I measure it out. I'm going to be working on quite a few different projects, so I'm going to pour in 15 ounces part B, which is this here, and then I'm going to pour in 15 ounces part A, making 30 ounces total. It's a 1-to-1 ratio by weight. So I got my 15 ounces part B in there, and now I'm going in with the part A, and I'm just gonna hope that I have a big enough cup. This cup is supposed to be 32 ounces, but it was getting pretty close to the top, so I was like, oh my gosh, I hope this cup is big enough, but it ended up working out perfectly. So I'm just gonna finish up getting this part A up to 30 ounces, and then we're gonna mix it. And I'm gonna be using the electric mixer from Let's Resin. You can use this mixer for actual epoxy resin or silicone rubber, which is nice. And I'm just going to mix this up for 5 minutes, making sure I get it all the way down to the bottom of my cup, making sure that I get parts A and B 100% incorporated. You can see how slow this goes. This works great to mix up your resin as well. Saves your hand and your wrist a little bit of pain. I'll link this down below along with my coupon code. It is rechargeable, so you can just charge it up, and then it works really easy. You just get that little paddle in there, insert the paddle, on off button, and then you're good to go. And then you just clean off the mixing paddle. For resin, I would use 91% isopropyl alcohol and a rag, but the silicone, I just took a paper towel and wiped it right off. So here's our snowflake. I took a microfiber towel, made sure that I cleaned it off completely because any smudges, fingerprints, dust, anything like that will end up in your mold. So I just cleaned it off really well. I'm going to push it down very carefully, making sure that I'm wearing gloves so I don't get any fingerprints on it, and I'm going to push it down on that tape. I've got our mixed up silicone rubber here, and I'm just drizzling that on to the snowflake. This snowflake has a lot of really pretty crystal facets, and I didn't want any bubbles to get trapped in those facets of the snowflake, so I'm just drizzling on that silicone rubber so it kind of gives it a nice little coat before I go in here and actually start pouring to fill up my mold housing. And I'm taking my cup and I'm holding it way up above this wooden stir stick here, and I'm letting that silicone hit the stir stick, and then it's drizzling down into my mold housing, and that's going to help eliminate bubbles. And I'm just going to fill it up till it's about 1/8 of an inch, a little bit over 1/8 of an inch over the top of my snowflake there. You want to make sure you don't pour the mold too thin, and that's it. It's super easy to make molds. I hope you guys give this a try. You can see there were a few little air bubbles in there, but they degas on their own perfectly. And for your mold housing, I have this custom made, but you can use anything you have. A plastic container works well. I've used cottage cheese containers, big yogurt containers previously on my channel. If you haven't seen those videos, definitely go check them out. I'll link them down below. I pulled the tape off the bottom, took off my mold housing, and I did have some silicone rubber leak underneath the snowflake. That's no big deal. We need to trim up the mold anyway. I'm going in with a cuticle trimmer around the perimeter of the mold, just trimming up this excess here. And now I'm going to get a little starting point underneath the snowflake. And these nippers actually come in really handy too for mold making. These are just like Revlon stainless steel nippers. You can get them from, your drugstore, Walmart. I'll try to find some on Amazon and link them down below, but they work really great for cleaning up molds. I'm just going to go around the perimeter of the snowflake with my cuticle trimmer here, and you want to make sure you go carefully. You don't want to damage your mold or mess up your mold. I went all the way around, and now we're going to demold the snowflake. I'm just going to pop it right out of the mold here, and you'll see all the gorgeous facets and the crystal look from the snowflake transferred perfectly to the mold. And you can mold all kinds of things. Like I said, this is a resin snowflake I made, so you can make molds of your resin creations. You can make molds of ceramic items, acrylic items, all kinds of different things you can make molds of. I'm going to go around and just trim up the excess around the mold here, just making sure that all the little parts of the snowflake are going to come out nicely when I do a resin pour in this. And I am going to be doing a resin pour in this next. I'll probably just upload like a really short 1-minute video doing that. I didn't want to include that in this video because this video is pretty long, but I hope you guys give mold making a try. It's really so easy to do. If you can mix up resin, you can definitely mix up silicone rubber. It's really fun to make your own molds. And this mold is just for my personal use, so it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as my resin castings come out nicely, it doesn't really matter to me if it's not 100% perfect, but here's how it looks all finished up. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. I'll link all the materials I used down below in the description box, along with any coupon codes that I have. I hope you guys are all doing fantastic. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Naptime Creations, and thanks for watching. I'll see you soon for another video. Bye guys.